good, man. Feels good. Three wins in a row. Season is back on track. Looking like a Super Bowl contender. What do you think?
Dude, continuing the winning streak. It was an ugly game, really bizarre with all the wind and just seeming like was it snow? Was it just filth that was falling down the whole time? The audio broadcast kept checking in and out. I mean, it was just such a rough game, and to see us near the end just run away with it, oh, it felt so good, man.
Like, what keeps coming back to me is we did what we were supposed to do. Like, we looked like how a Super Bowl contending team should look against an average team. The Jets are not a bad team, and it was on the road, and the weather was rough, but like we came in, we handled our business. Yeah, it was ugly and close at first, but that game felt under control the entire time. Like, there was no point where I was actually worried that we weren't going to win that game.
It was like after that first drive obviously was just like magical with Jake, because we're going into every game now hoping that Thielen gets his next 100-yard game, and of course we start off the first drive hitting him on like a 40-yard touchdown. So it's just like the most beautiful first drive, and then and we stop on 3 and out, but then it's like this back and forth of just horrendous offensive possessions by us and then by them, by us and by them, and then they have one really nice drive and they score. At that point, I was like, okay, the offense needs to get together. I know it's a rough game. And this is ultimately what made me so satisfied at the end, is that it really was wind. I mean, Darnold was horrendous.
Yeah.
I mean, he should have had more interceptions than 3.
Yeah.
And I mean, Kirk Cousins was throwing balls into the ground 10 yards in front of people. So it was just an ugly game. And the fact that we came out of there scoring, 37 points?
Yeah.
Impressive, man.
Yeah. Like, that's what you want to see. That's what you want to see. And, yeah, it was amazing seeing Thielen go over 100 again, so 7 games in a row. You have to like his chances next week. I mean, if he can do 100 yards against a tough Jets defense on the road in bad conditions, I mean, the Saints defense is atrocious.
And
it's
we're
going to be
probably
back
throwing a
indoors.
lot.
Yeah, so, like, man, like, I'm excited about that. The run game, we talked about this. Like, statistically, the run game, like, looked all right, and we had some long runs, and it was great. But still too much of the, like, hand the ball off and get hit in the backfield for a 2-yard loss. I'm telling you, it's going to bite us in the butt at some point. We're going to have a lead against a good team, and we're going to need to be able to grind the clock out, and they're going to know we need to run, and we're not going to be able to run. And we're not going to run, and we have to figure that out.
Yeah, I mean, like, you're absolutely right. Like, I think the ending stat line for Latavius was something like 15 for, like, 67, which is great. It's great for him. He 2 touchdowns, and, I mean, he looked really good. Rock Thomas had, like, a 25-yard carry. Mike Boone had that one, like, 10-yard run where he juked out, like, 5 people.
Right.
I mean, it just looked good on all phases, but you're right. In obvious running situations, if there was a stat for that, it would be horrendous.
Yeah. And if you take out, like, the 3 big runs that those guys had, it was probably more like total of like 15 carries for like 10 yards.
Yeah, it was. We're doing a good job at fooling people when we run. That's about all we're doing good in the run game, is that we surprise people because they're a really bad running team. They don't have a good O-line. It's an obviously passing down, and then we'll run the ball and catch them off guard. And in all fairness, like, for a normal game like this, like, it's gonna be great, and it served its purpose. 2 rushing touchdowns. We looked awesome. But you're right. In a normal game where it's going to be like, hey, grind the clock out, let's just get some running plays in, like, we go 3 and out quicker than any team I've seen.
I swear. And the rough thing is, at this point, I don't have a lot of hope that it's going to get better, because we've had Elflein back for like 4 weeks, and he's like healthy. And it's just, I don't know what the problem is. I haven't like watched the film like closely enough to know, but man, it just looks like our guys just get overpowered. Like, I don't know if our whole offensive line just needs to hit the weight room, but, like, that's not going to happen this season. You know, they're not. So, like, we might have to live with this for the rest of the year, and that's scary, especially when you think about playoffs, you know?
It is, and I mean, the funny thing is that I think Latavius is handling it better than Dalvin Cook would. As weird as it is, I think Dalvin's the better runner all around. I think everybody probably agrees with that. But Latavius is really good at picking a hole and just running through it straight. He doesn't make any moves, he just runs. But the holes that we open up are so small that I think a lot of runners would have a really hard time behind that O-line, like finding space, and he does a good job at it. So I think it can improve a little bit, just because I've seen offensive lines just for no reason go from bad to good, and I've seen some from good to bad, but usually from bad to good. I mean, usually from bad to good. But with our offense, the way that it's set up with Kirk Cousins and 2 awesome receivers like Thielen and Diggs, I think it'll have more room for improvement on the way we're using it now.
Yeah.
Like, if we're going to start opening it up more, the better our passing offense.
And it's also true that, like, on a normal game with normal wind conditions, Kirk Cousins completes like 70% of his passes. So, like, I could see us being in, like, a crucial game, like next week against the Saints, needing to grind the clock out. But instead of trying to run the ball, it's like short, quick passes to Thielen and Diggs. Because Thielen catches just about everything, and Cousins normally is very accurate when he's not throwing the ball backwards at the ground.
Oh my!
Let's talk about that for just a second. I mean, this was a good game, and like we shouldn't be like negative about it. But what the heck was he doing, man?
Dude, he threw that. He turns and he sees it was Diggs, because Diggs made the heads up play to get it. And he sees him, and he's gonna throw him the screen, but he sees that there's 3 guys around him, so he notices, he throws it into the ground, thinking, okay, the play's dead, I'm about to get hit, just throw the ball to the ground. But he realizes he's throwing it like, it's not just like a little bit questionable, it's like 5 yards back, and as soon as it leaves his hand, you can see him in the background of this replay, like lunge forward, and then he stops, like he knows what he just did, and he like hesitates, and then Diggs kind of walks over to it, and then starts to run for it, and it was just, oh man, and I mean,
you know what he was doing, dude? He was thinking of what his next podcast question was going to be. He's like, if Diggs catches this, I'm going to ask him about it on the podcast on Monday, and then he threw it. Oh my gosh.
Like, statistically, you'd say, man, that was happening a lot the whole game with both teams, because I mean, Darnold had a lot of snaps go off his feet, their punter fumbled one in the end zone, their punt returner dropped the ball, and I mean, but this was Kirk Cousins just throwing a pass backwards, intentionally throwing it into the ground.
Like, you see that play happen when you throw it to the receiver and he drops it and it's a fumble. I can't ever remember seeing a quarterback basically spike the ball but backwards.
It like bounced 2 Diggs. I was like, was he trying to bounce it under the defense? Like I'm curious to see what he has to say about it later.
Yeah.
But it didn't cause us any problems. Thank God. That was all right. Dan Bailey missed one, but I mean, it's not his fault.
Yeah, the wind was horrendous. Dude, that kick, like, it goes up and it looks good, and then it like hits a wall and then just like falls straight down.
Not his fault at all. I think he had a good day. Defense, 4 turnovers?
Yeah, defense looked great.
Looked awesome.
Xavier Rhodes' injury is a bummer, and like it sounds like maybe it's not as serious as it initially looks, but you gotta wonder if he's gonna be healthy for the Saints game.
Yeah, I mean, he came back into the game, came back onto the sideline from the locker room, they said, and was kind of bouncing around, hoping to get back out there. The fact that it's an ankle injury makes me think that like the NFL can handle injuries like that. At first I was like, it could be an Achilles or it could be a knee, but it's just an ankle, which means that, it'd be really bad if he missed the Saints game. It's a big one we need him for, but I don't think his season is in jeopardy at all. Yeah. Hopefully we get Linval and Sendejo, specifically Sendejo, back for the Saints. But it's going to be awesome.
And the Bears lost, so as of now, sole possession of first place in the NFC North.
Feels
back
good.
where it belongs.
Feels good, man. Feels good.
All right, well, I think that's about it. I mean, it's going to be an awesome game on Sunday. Seriously, can't wait.
Get your Schneiders out, guys.
Seriously, get your Schneiders out. This is such a great spot to be because obviously we want to beat the Saints, but I feel like we've kind of saved our season, and so like we don't have to beat the Saints. Like we can lose, and like we're not like worried about like missing the playoffs. So can't wait for this game. You guys stay tuned. Probably Thursday we will drop our preview episode. We'll take a deep look at the Saints game, and enjoy being in first place, guys. See you later this week.